Okay, in this tutorial, we're going to look at creating assignments. So Canvas is a great way for organizing your content, producing resources for students to access. But one of the main features you'll be using it for is setting work for students to do and then getting them to submit it. So you might be used to students doing work on different platforms where they might turn in the work through that platform. And Canvas gives you that opportunity, but gives you a much broader range of ways of getting students to submit work and then later for you to assess that. So let's just open up Canvas. And so here we are on my dashboard. And as like in previous tutorials, I've just got a test course set up. So I'm going to browse to that test course. And we can see there's actually some shortcuts on here as well. So I can see announcement, assignments, discussions and files. So you can jump straight into clicking on assignments there, but I'm just going to click on the name of the course for now so that we just know where to navigate to. So you'll see along the side, here are your various kind of topic tabs. So I'm going to go to the assignment page. Now this is quite useful. We've looked at modules before where you can be creating modules to organize your content. You can then also organize your assignments into groups. So you might say, you might have different modules throughout your entire course, but you might want to have then just different types of assessments. So you might want to have like topic tests, then you might want to have, end of term assessments, and then you might have a thing for kind of you might have like a weekly tests. So you can create different test groups. So then so you can see here, there's all my different assignments, groups that are useful. So summer home learning assignments, end of unit, a whole load of stuff. So there's different types of things. So now I can create an assignment. So click up on the plus at the top right here, and I'm going to call this, new assignment. And you'll see up here at the moment, this is not published. So the students won't be able to see this. And this is where we get the Canvas rich text editor. So it gives you along the top line all the main kind of editing tools that you would see with something like Word or Google Docs. Some things that are quite useful. So I'm going to say, this is the information about the assignment. Oops, spelling would help. So a few things, some formatting things. So you've got obviously your text color, which is you could be using, but then also you've got a highlight color here. So there's some particular words you want to highlight. You can just click that and that will highlight the background of that particular text. If you're copying and pasting text from somewhere else, you might find you're getting some weird formatting. So this little T with an X next to it is quite helpful because it just means you can clear the formatting and get you back to normal clean formats. Some helpful super and subscript, particularly if you're doing kind of maths and science kind of stuff where you just want to easily write, velocity squared. You select that and then you can just be popping that up and it's really easy. Obviously your bullet points and numbered lists, and then other bits and pieces, so like table, and then to insert media. So if you've just got a document, if you've got like a embed code from somewhere, that you can paste that in. Here also creating links. So you might just have a link you want to put in. So and that just pops that link in there. Pressing Control K is actually quite helpful. It gives you a slightly different set of options. So here, target, which is quite useful. So you might not want them to be opening a link and then it pulls them out of Canvas. So just new window would pop them out into a new window and they could still then come back to your tab, which can be quite helpful. Embed image. Image can be a bit of a pain, but sometimes the best way to do it is this top right tab over here, because what you can then do is just upload a new image and it will drop into your content that way. So if you've got an image, like here, I've got a picture, so I'm going to say, right, retro costumes. I can just click on that from here and it just drops it in. You've got your insert maths equations, which is pretty impressive. So you've got here a whole load of different symbols and signs and operators that can be used to drop that in. So, you know, trying to just write pi r squared on a computer itself is pretty hard. So, you know, you can kind of stick it in there. And then you go, right, okay, I want to make that. Oops, there we go. And then you insert the equation, and it actually looks how it's meant to look. So now I'm going to add in some content from Google Drive. So maybe the first time you use this, it's going to ask you to authenticate just to make sure the link is has permission. So you click on that, and this is quite cool. Like, it's not the same navigation format you will see in Google, but it just allows you to bring your content through. Now you have to remember the content has to be shared with the students in your class for them to be able to see this content document. Now you've got some options here. Link, so it would just be a link that they can click on, or embed would actually put that entire document straight into that assignment. Now students will see this as well. They'll pop up with a little thing that says authorize. So now you've got this whole Google bit completely embedded in there. And if it's got the right sharing settings, so if you've just set it as view, you know, students can do the kind of make a copy, all that kind of stuff from directly within this page. And then you're going to see also there's this little kind of triangle, and this is just where there's lots of external tools. So there's been a handful that we've just had installed that are quite useful. So we've got, you know, Dropbox. If you've got files in Dropbox you want to link across, you can do that. YouTube, so it just allows you straight away to search on YouTube and embed some videos. So, you know, so if I'm going to look for something about physics, and say, right, okay, I'm going to physics in 6 minutes, and then you've got some options here. So I can see options, so embed. So you can have a link, embed small, medium, or large. I'm going to say, you know, a medium video, and there we go. And it's going to drop that video straight in there. No code needed. But of course, you can also paste in the embed code from a YouTube video. And actually, if you try and post in a video link on here, Canvas will interpret it and realize that it's a video, and will try and put that in place. Then you've got to kind of record and upload media, so it's actually possible. So you can see here a very silhouetted version of me that you can even record direct from your webcam or your mic, or you could just upload a video file that you might have stored somewhere else, just go straight into Canvas, which is quite useful. And then just kind of setting your kind of formatting, so your text size, and then also some just sort of rules for like headings. So, yeah, so say this is the heading. You can then apply those styles to it, so they just render well across different sites, and say, right, header 3, and it just automatically adds the right kind of formatting to it. So that's the kind of adding the content to an assignment. And then there's other things you can do from the right hand side. So we've got over here links, so you can then refer back to any content, and these show up anywhere with this text editor. So you can just link straight back to any of your pages. So if I just click 2.11 start from, it puts it straight in. You might want to put in another page. I could even say this is a page, and if I highlight it and then click on this, it will actually impose the link on that text and use the text that I've written. You can drop in other assignments, other quizzes, other announcements, other modules. So you might say, remember, go and check this module. So you can say, right, that module. So a whole load of links just easily just drop in. Really easy way. And then you've got all your files that are in your Canvas course. But I always say try and avoid uploading too many files, because they're probably then in formats that are quite hard for people to download and view. Whereas if you've got them perhaps saved in Google, that's always quite helpful. So you've got all of that. And then you've created your assignment, give them instructions, give them resources. So this is the next bits where you really want to look at, are you going to assess this, and how do you want to kind of organize it? So these are all the test assignment groups that we had. So I'm going to say this is actually a weekly topic test. I'm going to say it's out of 10. You can display the grade however you like. Complete, incomplete, it might just be something that each week it's just a task for them to do. It's not got a lot of grading next to it. You can do a whole load of stuff with points, letter scores, whole kind of stuff. And then you can even say, don't let it count towards the final grade, because Canvas can do a whole thing where it calculates your whole course. Then your submission types. So no submission, you just don't expect them to hand anything in. Or you can say on paper, so I just want them to hand it in class. External tool, so you can actually, if you had another tool that you wanted to use, you could paste that in. But the main one you really want to do is going to be online. And then this gives you lots of options. So text entry would give students this same kind of text editor where they could type or paste in their responses. You might just say, you know what, I don't want that. I just want a website URL. So I've put in my instructions, paste in for me your Google Drive URL from your assignment. So when you go into share and copy link, you could take and paste it in there. You could set it as a group assignment. So you could actually create a name and split it into a certain number of groups and say, right, I'm going to create the groups manually, or I'm going to just say I want to split the class into two. But we're going to do that right now. You can then do stuff with peer review. So what you can do is once that's done, is you can automatically assign it to other students and they'll anonymously receive it. They won't know whose work it is, and they could then hear everything's anonymous. They can write feedback to each other in an anonymous way. But we'll turn that off. And then the last bit, so the assign bit. So normally it's set to everyone, but you might want to set perhaps slightly different assignments for some differentiation to different students. So you might want to say you're going to choose different people in your course. And then of course you've got your due date. So put in the date. Put in the time is quite helpful. Otherwise it will default to 11:59 at night. Now, I would avoid, unless you really want to lock this down, avoid using the available from until. If you just leave it as it is, these assignments are just available for the duration of your course. And then students can just access it whenever you want. Now, you could arguably say, you know what? I'm going to leave this for everyone, but actually I'm going to add a slightly different deadline for someone else. So I'm going to say that Mark's going to get... he's going to have, you know what, he's kind of done everything else. So I'm going to say he's going to have the 11th, and I'm going to make it come in on midday. And so he gets an 11th of June deadline and everyone else gets the 13th. Then I'd save it and that would save, but I could do save and publish, and that makes sure that it's automatically published for my students to see. And if this was when you were editing an assignment that you'd already written, you could also tick this to say, hey everyone, something on this assignment has changed. So I'm going to save and publish that. And then that will save all of that content. And this would automatically notify all the users that they now have an assignment. So we can see this now with all my terrible stuff we just thrown in there. Our embedded Google Doc. And then it shows that for us that it's being submitted by a website URL and that these are the deadlines, but that's all we see for now. And if we were to go back to home and just have a look at that in student view, so I can then have a look and see this new assignment that's in my to-do list as a student on the right. So I can click through that. And I can see now all the instructions, the links that were here, the video that's there that will just play in the thing. It's now saying I need to log into Google. So they would do that once and that would store their authorization. They don't see any of the information about who's got different deadlines. And then to go to submit assignment, they will see that it's giving them some few options. So they could just paste in a website URL. It's going to let them go and link to a Dropbox account if they've got one. It will also then let them link back to, for some reason it has 2 Google Drives. This doesn't work whilst I'm pretending to be a student, but it then just brings up their Google Drive browser and they could submit the work from there. And then once they submit it, you know, this is my final website I built. Submit assignment, and then really helpfully it tells the student when they submitted it, what time. They can actually, if they upgrade it, say right, I'm going to do another one. So now my new assignment, this is my second draft. Submit it again, and they will now see the updated time, and they can even see any comments against it. They can click on the submission details, and they can see the latest version of the work there. And then they can view the original page, which just brings them back to the page that they submitted. So it just kind of loads up that site. And that's kind of it. So assignments, pretty powerful kind of stuff. And we didn't even look at really what it looks like with a student submitting files. So we'll just have a quick look at that. So down here, text entry, media recordings, so they can just upload, they can do the whole thing again with video, webcam response, and file uploads. And you can say, you know what, I want to restrict the kind of file. I just want it as a Word file, a document, an Excel file, or a PDF. And so then I can save that, and now go back into that student view, and then have a look at that assignment. So turn in your assignment. Oops, hang on, that's for me. Leave. Student view again. So I can actually have a look at the assignment. So that new assignment that I handed in, students can search the assignment up here, but I just click that. And this time when I click resubmit, there's now more options. So just a file, they can click on a file, they can add multiple files, text entry, so they just get their editor, and then we get the same website URL, media, so they can just record and upload media, so they can just talk directly into their webcam, and that would say, and then we've seen Dropbox and the Google Drive things as well. So that is pretty much assignments in a nutshell, a very big nutshell, but really a lot you can do. So yeah, that's all ready for you to then create those assignments, send them to the students, and then later on, of course, organize those into your modules.